Can't even say what happened. He caught the Roczen flu. I don't know. Hit it for him, Siri.
首のやけど
Not your average Joe. I don't know if I've ever seen a team struggle so much on a bike setup all year long. Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy James Stewart. You know where we at? We had to rewind, baby. Round 5, RedBud. We all know this. My favorite track on the circuit. A lot of these guys' favorite track. You hear people saying RedBud, yelling it all day long. 4th of July weekend, got all the new cool graphics, bikes. So round 5 of the Lucas Oil Motocross. Let's get into it, people. And somebody new and somebody old is going to get a neck burn this weekend. So let's check it out. As I said before, RedBud was one of my favorite tracks of the circuit. It's always been it seems like every single year those guys, like, they try to improve the track. And for some reason, the Midwest, or Mid-East or Central, wherever it's at, Mid-North, Mid-North, but again, geography wasn't my place. But nonetheless, the dirt's always been good, like around that track, Butts Creek. You kind of have Southwick, like up in the northern hemisphere, but RedBud's always been a good track, and it's deep, but it has some sand sections in it. It has some hard clay, it gets dry, so it really gives the guys a lot of different elements. And for whatever reason, like, I never really raced this track when the weather was cool. It was always like muggy and hot, and the only downfall to that, it's close to a river. And like the track's like in a valley, so it just seems like it always keeps that heat, like, keeps it, humidity is always high. I ain't calling out no names, but my mechanic back in the day, Leroy, he had a little heat stroke on there. It was that hot. And, but that was just kind of the way RedBud was. When you showed up in July, it's the middle of the summer. It was always hot, but this weekend was ultra cool. And, you could tell, you can always tell by TV, like when you're watching the track, you can always tell how the weather is by the way the track looks. Particularly this weekend, like RedBud's usually super deep, like sometimes muddy in a sense. But when it's kind of, cooler outside and dry, the track gets a little bit, it looks like it did today, during the race, a little bit drier. It's not as deep. You kind of have more choppy stuff instead of those gnarly, like big potholes as RedBud really gets. But nonetheless, it's always the rider's favorite. I felt like it was always a good, test kind of midway through the season. Everybody kind of feeling the way out. So when you got the RedBud, usually the guys who are performing and that's going to be there for the championship are always the guys that sit here and race. So I always enjoyed the track, and it seems like those guys did it too. So coming into this weekend, we had Chase Sexton. He's got the points lead. He's got the red plate. He's still been obviously he's the most consistent guy because he has the red plate. But I would say that, Eli was the guy that was kind of like trending, I think, out of all the riders. I said it before, Chase and Jason, maybe he was a little timid at Jason, but Jason's kind of doing what he did in Supercross, is kind of shooting his own self in the foot, making mistakes and giving these guys points. But Eli was the other guy that was on a roll. And I think even, with Roczen winning Thunder Valley, I don't think Chase was ever like really like too concerned about him, because he was more thinking that history would show Roczen would maybe have a race like he did this weekend, the second moto. But I think what we saw this weekend was Chase, realizing that, like, I think he believes he has everybody else covered. Jason went down and he just, was trying to move Ken out the way. You could tell he was getting super frustrated with Ken, and eventually just cut him off before the league. But Eli was in his own world, and Chase was just trying to salvage it, and try to stay up on the podium and keep it going. So it was good to, for him, I thought, like, he's seeing, and taking what he gets, and I think Eli was on another level. Even if Chase was able to get up to him, I think Eli, the way he looked, how comfortable he was, like, you could just tell when Chase got in second, he picked it up, and Eli was just really, like, smooth, like, looked like there was no worries in his world. And so it was good to see Chase, like, kind of just fight through those guys, and I think he has a belief that he's better than everybody else. So I think it'll be him and Eli and guys here every once in a while, but I think it'll be those two. But Chase was, I I think in years past, I think he would have probably ended up like fourth, fifth, or maybe even crashing. But he made some mistakes. He actually ended up going down at one point when Jason fell. He got caught up with him, but he was still able to kind of climb back up through the rest of those guys. And so I think that's a good testament to like where he's at and his belief. But nonetheless, the big number 3, Toesmacking, was doing what he was doing in Supercross, and that's scary. He's won the last 3 races in a row, 2 overalls, and trending the right way. So, and looks like he did in Supercross, that they pretty much got that bike fixed. I wouldn't say that. They got that bike a lot better than what it was, but he's obviously more comfortable enough, and I think he's starting to get used to it. So, again, Chase rode good. He was able to get 2 seconds. Home crowd. I think he had a bunch of like family there, so it was good to watch him come up and try to get second place. And that's what he did. Salvage. The one interesting thing about Chase and Ken, Chase, actually all of them, when they do these overhead shots, and these guys really should go back and watch film, because that was the one thing I did a lot, and not to sit here and talk about myself, but I'm talking about myself for a minute. The one thing I did a lot was watch the film. I watched the races 3-4 times, afterwards, and I still do. I do it for different reasons now, but I still enjoy it. Like, these guys should go back and watch, because you can clearly visual see. Wait, that's all the same word in 3 different words, right? Anyways, you can visually see the speed difference of Chase, like in certain parts, like his momentum around, like, certain parts, like where he catches those guys quite a bit. They should just go back and watch the damn film, because like I'm sitting here watching like, all right. And granted, it is easy being behind somebody. It's a lot easier being in second. You can, when they break, you just give a little bat, 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 keep it on there. But, when you're watching and you're trying to, figure out where the guy's faster than that, like you could just watch the rewind show or this show right here. And then you can just watch on TV, especially on the overhead shots of like the guys gaining 3-4 bike lengths in like one single corner. And, I think those guys should pay attention to that, because that's clearly like where he's faster at. And you can really see it is once he gets around them. And if he's in the open part of the track, like he's gone. One thing with certain guys is like when they, there's one thing catching somebody, there's another thing passing, and then there's another thing pulling away. Well, certain parts of the track, and this is where it really gets interesting with Chase, it depends where he catches you at and passes you, like was whether you got a chance to like pass him back. Meaning, I think if you catch him, like last weekend in High Point, if he caught you in that tight stuff or he passed you right there, you could stay with him, because that wasn't his strong suit. He wasn't necessarily as good there compared to if he caught you when he was in the, around the finish line, those open parts. Like most likelihood, like if you're watching this, like he caught you from 3-4 bike lengths back, and he'll pass you and he'll pull that. So as you're watching his race, it depends where Chase caught those guys and passed them, because at one point he caught Ken, and as soon as he passed him, he was gone on there. And it wasn't like he was like 3-4 seconds faster than Ken. Well, at one point, Ken was like 3 or 4 seconds, like we saw what happened at the finish. So maybe he wasn't the best, but it wasn't like Chase was that much faster than everybody. It was just certain parts of the track he had good momentum, and those guys should really pay attention to that, because it's a big speed difference. And if they want to try to beat this guy, they're gonna have to start solving that problem and trying to hold him off. But maybe you can't hold off what's going to inevitably happen anyway, and Chase was going to pass your ass anyway, and he was going to beat you anyway. So maybe that's what's going to happen anyway. So anyways, move on. I feel like I'm actually starting to feel bad for Mr. Coffee. Dude's trying so hard on there with his pretty little chin. He's trying so hard on there, and he's like putting 2 anchors on his bike. And boy, when you watch Ryan, like it looks like his bike's super slow. It looks super slow. And especially like coming out those sand rollers, there was a point where I think he's behind or Anderson's right there behind him, and he makes a mistake going into the sand rollers. And you can just look how much effort Ryan's doing to just try to get the bike back up. And it reminds me of like when we were talking about Malcolm in Supercross, when there was a whoop section, and I'm like, look at Freeze or somebody, and Vince's bike is recovering, and Malcolm's like pulling that thing back up, pulling back up like he's doing push-ups. Well, when I watched Ryan ride, that coffee must be strong, because dude's like literally working 35% harder than everybody else, and like just everywhere. It seems like going down straightaways, coming out, it looks like his bike's slow. Like the things, the rear end's dead. If there's a pothole, just watch Ryan. You can tell how rough the track is on there. And I ain't knocking on the bike, but I'm calling it for what it is on there, because I've spoken to Ryan on there, and like, more power to him, man. He's such he's so positive, and he's working with those guys and stuff. And they'll figure it out, because they're obviously champions, but it's definitely a struggle. Like, we keep it real over here. He is struggling. And I don't know if I've ever seen a team struggle so much on a bike setup all year long, really. Like, and it's been kind of like this thing that was happening in Supercross, like it's happening here in outdoors. And I think here at RedBud, with the track being a little bit deeper and with having a little bit of loose soil, and then having certain parts, like, it was almost like the traction issues, and where a bike, getting out like responsive, the bike working, the, coming out, not braking bumps, but acceleration bumps coming out of corners. His bike was it was a big struggle right there. And so with this track, a lot of these sections was like before the Rocco's leave, before the sand rollers, a lot of this track was based on, once you got in the corner, accelerating, getting out of it. That's how you kept your momentum. And just like 250 class, if you didn't get the acceleration going before Larco's leap, even the 450s, you couldn't jump it. Well, more power to Coffee, because dude was just sending it. You can tell, like, he was probably like lightheaded. He was like, God, like, forget it. Take me, Lindsay. Take me. Like, he didn't care. He was so mad that he was trying that hard to keep up with these dudes that he was like, I cannot afford to like not jump this. Kind of felt like I was in 2005 on the two-stroke. You would just take chances, like, you know what, like, I'm just gonna die right here. I just gotta do it on there, because I don't work this hard to just stay this close. And so with Ryan, like, it's definitely struggling. You could tell by the end of the race, like, the dude's in shape, I will tell you that. But by the end of the race, he was like, dude, I'm done. I think that's why Anderson rode past him, and more power to him. He was still fighting, but Right, we see it over here. We see it, boy, you're struggling. And out of all the weekends of the races, like, this looked worse than it was at Hangtown. And Hangtown was pretty bad on there, but your riding is way better. But this weekend, I will definitely say it was a struggle for the whole team as an effort. But the good thing about the team is y'all all going to work together, and y'all all going to fix it. But watching what happened last weekend at High Point, or 2 weekends ago, don't get discouraged, because that rider is still there. I actually thought maybe you look better as a rider this weekend, but you didn't have no choice. Like, you were done. My boy Ken, over here, we big fans. We big fan of All Guys Got Talent. It should be the Motocross Got Talent world, because all these guys are talented. All of them. Everybody. Even the guy that was waving antsy, pulling off, doing interviews. Gotta love him. Looks like he'd be a fun time in the bar. They all got talent on there. And this was bad. I ain't gonna lie. This was bad. And this is why I said, like, when you say stuff, people, like, and why you, like, people get mad at, like, Jay, like, oh, man, you don't say enough. Well, this is why, right? I don't say nothing, because, like, if I know in the back of my head, like, this could happen, then I ain't gonna ass out myself and put myself on blast. Like, yeah, I'm back. Yeah. Look, shut up. I want to hear that. I'm a big fan. I'm getting pissed, people. Know when I get mad, I start talking. When I start talking, sometimes I talk too much. So I'm going to back it back down. Ken, I don't know what happened, man. I ain't know. And he ain't under this table, people. Maybe he's buried out back. I don't know. Maybe he's packed his bags. He's on his way down under, on there. More props to him. It's going to be a good series. It's better for the sport. It's going to be great. But he's still racing over here. You still got people, fans, and all that. And I can't even say what happened. He caught the Roczen flu. I don't know what it is. They said he was sick again. He was sick 2 weeks ago, and he was sick 6 months ago, and he got over it. I don't know. We all sick. We're sick and tired of you being sick. Ken, bruh, I don't know what else to say. I'm a big fan. I support you, but I keep it real here. What up? What up? And we'll be right back, people, because I'm just going to cut it. I need a break. You know who we haven't spoken about? It's Mr. Eli Tomac. Why? Because it was just in control. He was just in his own world. And even though he was battling with, I don't even know who he was battling with, Ken, whoever, you can just tell that there was no worries. When I watched the TV this weekend, I was like, oh, he's going to win. He was sitting on the gate before the first moto, walking out the truck. I was like, yeah, he's going to win on there. Like there's something with Eli that like when he's confident, it's not the beast mode that gets you, because we all know he has the beast mode. The flow Mac. When he just be flowing, he gets another zone, y'all are going to lose. That's simple. You know it. He knows it. We all know it. There's a difference. And it's the same thing I said in Supercross when I watched him. It wasn't the fact that he was just blowing people's doors off, because he didn't really do that. It was the way he looked by when he was doing it. Like when he's going in the corners, he almost gets a laziness to him. Like he's just so Colorado-ish, just chill. Head leaning, feet on the pegs, gripping the bike, not rushing the corners, going into the bumps, just straight up and down, like taking his time, picking his way around the racetrack. And that is trouble for you guys. Seriously, I ain't gonna lie. It is trouble, because dude has another level. Like if he has to like let it hang out, I'm just assuming that like he could probably do that, because he's done it before. But like this guy right here, this is a guy that just beats you by like 8 seconds, 10 seconds, like he did this weekend. And like, it's like, you see how he just stood around that corner, like on there, like you just cruising. And then you watch Chase and you watch these other guys, Mr. Coffee. Boy, them dudes trying. They trying. They trying. They dragging tractors and trains and females, babies on there. And this dude's just folding his luggage, packing his bags, getting ready to go to Southwick. He's thinking about Southwick right now, first moto, halfway through. He's like, oh man, Southwick, got to set the bike up. And that's a testament to him and testament to Yamaha, because it didn't look like that in the beginning part. Eli looked a little timid. And there's certain parts that he still looks a little timid, but what he is doing, he's so good everywhere else that now he's slowing down in those other parts of the track. And so he's taking that part out. And I think this weekend, even though there were some high speed, parts around this racetrack, I think this track set up well for him, because there wasn't the big chances, I would say, like at Thunder Valley, like after the tail top, that big old sweeper with those ruts where the bike can, really get a little loose. This track was soft, so when the bike got loose, there was cushion everywhere. So I think it allowed him to really feel comfortable, like at around the racetrack. But nonetheless, dude looked legitimately like better than I think I've ever seen him, whole package wise. And what I mean by confidence, it's just you just know it was like, you just know he means business. And it was good looking. Chase got in second, he caught him, and he just said, nah, pull up. And it just like, it didn't even make no difference. So with that being said, you know what time it is, people. Not only did he just dominate you guys, he went 1-1. Not only did he just won the last 3 motos in a row, he won the last 2 overalls in a row. And yeah, Chase Sexton's doing his best impression of Mr. Chad Reed, eliminating the big points gaps by finishing all these seconds. And Eli might have to win 7 of them just to tie, or whatever it is. But nonetheless, like, he's looking pretty good. And nonetheless, it was a little chilly this weekend. And it's been a couple weeks since he had it. But he's going to get it for him today. Hit it for him, Cole.
Suntan, neck's on fire.
Neck was on fire, Eli. And you done won all across the country. You won in California. You done won up in where he went at. Colorado, home state. He won a moto up there. He won up in Pennsylvania. And he's winning up here in Indiana, Chase's hometown. All these people up here like, oh man, it's going to be our boy and Mr. Sexton. Eli's like, it's going to be blue today. You see my shirt? I wore it. It looks like I'm on vacation, people. Why? Because when I watched Eli, I felt like I was just chilling. Just felt like I was on vacation. I want to wear a shirt. So for Eli Tomac, you got a neck burn. And it looked good. And you didn't even look like you were tired. Because why? Because you're thinking about Southwick, another track that you're pretty good at too. So look good, brother. Look good. That's a bad thing for everybody else. As good as you look, it's bad for everybody else. Good looking might be bad. Oh, I don't know. Now we got to go to the 250 class because I've been excited about get to this. A couple weeks ago, I was talking about Not Your Average Joe. And I was saying like there was something about him that was not average. Like even though he's average, that weekend he was above average. Well, damn, Joe. Damn. This boy looked way above average, Joe. Dude looked good. And the one thing with Joe, he's always, you know, when certain people like try to go fast and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna just let it hang out. They let it hang out, but it's still like an intimate hangout. Like you just like, you know, like a bobble of them. It's like, ooh, did you see, man? I was letting it hang out because I swapped. Joe was like, forget it. Like, forget it. I'm winning. And dude, like, it's been a long time, a long time, especially in this class, that you've seen a guy like in 30 of some place to come up and like to like third. Like that ain't average, people. And that ain't above average. That's stewable. That's Joe. We're gonna have to come up with a Shimoda. I don't know. I had my kids going Shimoda because I was screaming it all race long. Second moto, I was like, look at Shimoda, Joe. And dude, he was killing it. The kids don't even know who he is. They were like, Shimoda. Something like that. So, dude, he rode good, man. He rode good. He was on a different level. And I still believe like it would have been a battle between him and Jet, the first moto. But the way Joe was riding, like, I would almost have to say, you know, Not Your Average Joe is going to get Jet because he was on a different level. And the fact is, dude, when you say when riders get in zones, people, did you hear what he said on the podium? He's like, I didn't even know I was in third place. I didn't even know I won.
Wait, did you really know that you'd got this done?
Honestly, just right now, because I didn't even know I was in third either, so.
They told him that he won on TV. She said, they said first place on your pit board. Joe was in the zone. That's in the zone, people. You just passing people and you're like, look, anybody in my way, get knocked down. Mama in the way, I will knock her over to win. And that's what Joe was. And when I know he's from Japan and they call that far east. And the way he was in the back of the pack, he was far, far east. But he brought it back over here. He brought it back. And Joe Shimoda, we're going to have to ask Siri how we speak a neck burn or whatever we're going to have in your language. And it should be noted that you're the first person not named Lawrence on the red bike to win this year, like an overall. I know Levi threw the kitchen at you. I knew. But at the end of the day, he was still missing some spoons and forks and all that. So the Lawrence boys still got it done. But not your average Joe from the far East Coast. Let him have it this weekend. So we're going to have to figure it out. We're just going to have to hit it with an American version of a neck burn. Hit it for him, Cole.
Suntan, neck's on fire.
Shimoda was on fire. Nacho. Say it again, Siri.
首のやけど
See, she's struggling because she hadn't even had to say that before. I don't even know if she's ever said that. That's why she's like, what? But she said it today. And so just for you, Joe, just like we did for the German chocolate, not your average far East Coast, Shimoda. Hit it for him, Siri.
首のやけど
Not your average Joe. Got it done this weekend, and he got a neck burn from Shimina at the door for you, Joe. Damn, that boy was on fire this weekend.
RedBud! That got it done, Hunter. Congratulations.
So now we had an interesting weekend with Jet's bike blowing up, and the only thing that changed in the points was a letter. It went from J to H, Jet to Hunter on there. It just makes it more interesting. So in the Honda truck, now you got legitimately like the championship guys, like they're battling each other. And now far East Coast, Shimoda, not your average Joe, he's up there now. But still, I would say, unless Joe does this again at Southwick next weekend, I think Hunter is going to be back. And I think probably we'll see how he rides, because I don't think he's ever been in a position, at least over here, where he's been in the points league. So we'll see how he kind of reacts. And even though I don't know if he, like, when he knew Jet went out and then Joe beat him the first moto, he went back quite a bit. Like, he was, 10 some seconds behind Joe. And in the second moto, same thing. Jet passed him, and at the end of the race, he was almost 20 seconds back. So I don't know if he went into like, okay, I'm just going to take this, or there was something else going on, because out of all the racers, all the races, it was just weird to see Hunter fade back so much, because he's always been like just fighting Jet like the whole time. So it was interesting to see him, like, I don't know if just sit back, or maybe he was tired, or maybe he had bike issues, who knows. But we'll see how he reacts next weekend, because I'm just assuming that he just sat back. I don't know what it was. Let's just say that. But them being 1 and 2 in the points, how that's going to be in the truck for him, like, I actually think like it won't change anything, because his brother, even though his brother wants to win and like he has that killer instincts, like his brother's like legitimately happy like for him. So I think out of all the personalities in the pits, really, that like he couldn't ask for a better person to be in a battle with, like Hunter. He couldn't ask for a better person to be in a battle with his brother, because of his personality. Like Jet's like, dude, like a donut. You saw how he was after High Point. Like he was like, dude, that was fun, whatever. And Hunter's pissed. Like, I think if it was the other way around and Hunter was like winning and all that, and then inherited the points lead because, Jet's bike broke or whatnot. So I think if it was flipped, I think it would be awkward in the sense, because Hunter has that, you could just tell like that personality where it really pisses him off. And not to say Jet doesn't, but I think Jet's still a kid. And, I believe, he would kick his brother's ass if he had to, knock him down maybe if he had to. But I don't think he would be like angry if his brother won the title. I don't think he'd be angry if anybody won it. He'd be mad that he lost, but I don't think he'd be angry. Where I think Hunter would be like angry, that like he didn't win, even though he'd be happy that his brother won or whoever. So there's just a different like personality. So what I'm saying is, I don't think it really changes anything, because Jet's still clearly, I would say, the better Lawrence on there. Like, he's won more racers, and I think like speed wise, he showed it again this weekend. When he gets in there, I think he just looks like he does it easier than Hunter, and he has that personality where it's a fun loving, like whatever. He's like that kid that you like just hate getting beat up by, but you're like, damn, I can't, like the Chisholm effect. That's what it is. Jet has the Chisholm effect. You're like, but it's Chiz. Like, it's Chiz. You just can't be mad at him. So that's kind of what, Jet is. And so as much as, Hunter might hate the situation, it's the Chisholm effect. He offers you a donut. He offers you a line. You're like, all right, man, come on over, whatever. And so I think it's going to be the same as it always was. If it was going to get bad, it was going to get bad no matter who was in the lead. So it's just, we'll see what happens the next weekend, to see curious to what happened with Hunter after he got passed. And this is where the fans, y'all will let me know. Somebody got brake fade, or a clutch went out, or, something. So maybe I'll hear that part, but we'll see what happens. Did you know what happened, Cole? Because I didn't listen to the interview. My TV, it was raining down here, so the interviews got cut out literally. So I couldn't like listen to it. So,
he got in his own head. Like, he was like, oh, if Jet's bike blew up, what's gonna happen to mine? And he said that he started to hear a tick.
Oh, okay. Well, Hunter was ticking. He started hearing the tick, and he thought the time bomb was gonna go off. Both motos?
Just the first one is when he mentioned that.
Well, what happened in the second moto? Same ticking?
Don't know.
Well, since we don't know, and I don't know, you don't know, maybe he doesn't know, the ticking, things tick, that means they probably gonna blow up. So he just saw his brother smoking, so I ain't gonna be mad at him for doing that. But we'll see if the ticking was really the issue or something else ticking, because I'm telling you, when things happen and, you know, we all know we can calculate. I mean, maybe math wasn't our best, but we know how to add 2 + 2 = 5. You know, that's what we do. So, yeah, I got that. You know, people, you know what I mean? So, so what I'm saying, we ain't stupid on there. So Hunter knew when Jet went out, like he knew he got that points lead. So all he had to do was like finish it off. So the second moto, Jet, he knew he was going to be an overall. He probably had a signal that Not Your Average Joe was really far back. So he probably had a sense of, here it is right here. So let's listen to it, people.
You know, the red plate doesn't always come as fast as you want or how you want it, but we'll take it. It was a tough day. We made the most of it. I can't thank everyone enough from the team. So, yeah, it's good. Congrats to Joe. He rode awesome today. And
all right. So from what I took from that right there is that, like, you know, my problem is I tell the truth too early. Ain't nothing wrong with the truth. People might not like truth, but sometimes you tell it too early and it ruffles feathers. So, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Let's just see what happens next weekend. Let's just leave it at that. Because to me, the way Hunter was riding, when Jet went out, it flipped. And the only way, okay, if it was the ticking, okay. Second moto, like he was out there battling, Jet went past him, and then he was gone. The difference, the concerning part to me is like that once he got past and the way he started riding, like it was like, okay, if he went into protective mode, whatnots, that gap that happened when he got past is one thing. But you would kind of say, like, if he was in that zone, then he would have never really been in that situation. Like, meaning, you know, he was riding at a level where he was somewhat battling with those guys. And then, like, I don't know if it clicked in his head as like, okay, this is too much. I'm going to throw it away. I'm going to back off. And if that was the case, then it's way too early to be like doing that, because, you know, like if you're going to do that, like, I mean, you look like a guy that can win a race, a guy that was like a 5th place rider. I mean, that's the way you were kind of riding. And the good thing is he has Johnny O. And I know Johnny, if that was the case, Johnny's going to tell him, like, what I would say is like snap out of that real quick, because how you got here is how you're going to stay here. And not only are you going to have to try to improve on how you got here and what you did, you have to work harder to stay here. And if you think like by riding consistent, it's going to keep you here, it ain't, because not only, yeah, you might be able to get 2 seconds like you did this weekend, but that's not how you race. And it's going to change your whole approach, and you're going to end up battling like for 5th place or whatnots. Continue doing what you're doing, and Jet's going to, in 3 races, be in front of you again if you keep riding that way anyway. So nonetheless, I think it was just, I was waiting for him to say something, and he said it was a tough day. And the reason I kind of pushed back on that a little bit is because like he was actually riding pretty well until like whatever the tough days started kicking in, and then he started fading back. So my point is, people, is that let's see what happens next week at Southwick. He went 1-1 last year. He's a good sand rider from what I hear, and let's just see if he's the same Hunter as he's been these first 5 races, or what, 4.5 of them, right? We don't want the second half, but that one bad. So let's see if he's that guy. If he's that guy, he's all right. But if he's not, then he's better being the chaser. And like his first thing, he's better being Hunter, you know, than Hunted. So we'll see what happens. You know what time it is. Your favorite time, my favorite time, hell, all of us favorite time. I know it's going to be Mr. Shimoda. Favorite time, Joe Shimoda. Stews and Stews. Now, as I said last weekend, it's been hard, people. It's been hard. We got to try to combine this list. Like, it's been trying to pick 3 guys and do this. And, you know, I don't put people on here just for the hell of it. We just always do it. We just got to do it right. So this weekend, just like last weekend, we're going to consolidate. So let's start with number 1. And this one's easy. We always go easy, the first one. Stu. Or should they be Stu? Mr. Joe Shimoda. Now, let's think. He won his first ever pro moto. First moto. Looked good. Like, he looked good doing it. He was back there battling them Lawrence Sports at Red. He'd been seeing Red a lot this year. So sometimes, like, if he was a bull, that red means charge. Like, he's angry. But Joe, and the red is part of the Japanese flag. So, you know, he was kind of doing that. And then he saw smoke. And then he saw Jet eating a donut, pushing his bike off the side of the track, and he's attacked the Hunter, passed him. Now, would you think he inherited that race? Would you think he inherited it for his first ever moto? And then the second moto, he goes out there, he's like round out, and he falls over, he runs in the back of Justin Cooper. He's back in like 30th and comes back up. So you would think he would be like Stu, like he's pissed, running in the back of people. Jet bike blew up. He inherited people like, oh man, you lucked out. So what do you think, people? Should he be Stu or should he be a Stu? Of course he's a Stu. The dude just won overall. He got his first one. He's from the far East Coast, and he's been average. They've been calling him an average Joe, or at least we have here. But this weekend, not was he only above average. He was fantastic, like the S on the chart. I don't know, like you get A, B, C, pluses and A's. Joe was just above everybody else and above the average Joe. So of course he's a Stu. Not even a default. I'm not even putting him in that category. Some people get defaults because, hey, you win a race. You just, you get a Stu because you just won. Not Mr. Shimoda. He is stupendous Stu. So, of course, you're going to get down. Now, next, Eli Tomac. What do you think? I mean, yeah, he had a good weekend. Was it like a dominant, like the old school beast mode, flow mac, whatever you want to call it, toe smacking flow mac, whatever you want to call it? Was it one of those rides? Like, no. Now, was he like, I mean, did he look like he was doing easy? Like, yeah, I mean, I don't even know. He didn't even look like that happy afterwards. So you would maybe think he might have been like Stu, like pissed off. Like maybe Chase got too close to him the second moto. So what do you think? Should he be Stu or should he be a Stu? I mean, I just think he was just a Stu. You know why? Like just because he was just Tomac. It was just so smooth, man. It was so smooth. He was folding diapers, changing the laundry, doing daddy day stuff. You know what I mean? Like it was 4th of July weekend. Why am I talking like this? Because that's how he was riding. It was just like in a chill mode. So for him, I'm just going to keep it like chill. So of course he's a Stu, man. He's a Stu. I'm telling you, the Coloradians, cold nose, they just keep it chill over there. So he's a Stu. All right, people. That was it from round 5 up at RedBud, where you had the far East Coast, Mr. Joe Shimoda. And we're going to have to try to do it. He's going to have to be quick on his feet because I'm going to try to do it. Cole, hit him for the American version, please. Alrighty. See, we just talked about Roczen, and now we confused. We don't know if it's English, Japanese, Hanshin, whatever. Hit it for him, Cole.
首のやけど
Kanina tak didn't top. That was for you, Mr. Shimoda, and that means neck burn. Hit it for him.
首のやけど
That's not what I wanted. I wanted the American version. Goddamn, I'm confused now. Hit it.
Suntan, neck's on fire.
Neck's on fire. My neck's on fire because I'm hot. That was for you, Shimoda. Far East Coast. Not your average Joe no more. And Mr. Tomac, congratulations. Like I said, from Colorado. Keep the voice chill, just like your ride. Just smooth. You keep riding like that, I'm going to start calling you the new Smooth Criminal 2.0. What up, Bo? Get healthy soon, bro. And then Roczen. Worse. I'm not even going to do it. I was almost going to have Siri say weenie, but I ain't going to weenie it out. You bet. Fans are here. We hard because we love you. You're giving me heartburn thinking about it. We hot. I'm hot. I'm Stu. Anyways, people, that was it from round 5 up in RedBud. We'll see you next weekend. I'll see you back here next Tuesday as well. I'm always here in round 6 at Southwick, where somebody, maybe in a different language, or maybe back in American down under, Jet gonna come back with donut flying and whatnot. Sexton, I don't know. Is he gonna come back Smooth Criminal, or will it be the German chocolate coming back from the resurrection for like the 15th time? He got healthy. I'm gonna send him some vitamin C overnight. FedEx on this way. Till then, I'll see you then. Till then, bye. Stay classy, people. Whatever. That's like a Ron Burgundy later. Anyways, bye.